Who knew? Who knew that the director of legendary films like Tashan, Dhoom 3, and Thugs of Hindustan would go on to do a mid budget film with YRF and it would turn out to be his most effective and impactful work? The Great Indian Family truly is a surprise and a bingo card of 2023 that I did not expect. Why is it barely promoted? Is probably something that we'll address in the conclusion of this video. On a weekend, I usually just scroll through Book My Show to try and understand beyond the Hindi releases what else is coming out. And this was after a long time where I literally had to check whether there was any release at all this weekend. And in came a barely marketed or promoted film starring Vicky Kaushal titled The Great Indian Family. Produced by YRF and directed by the notorious Vijay Krishna Acharya, this movie has come out of nowhere, with barely any chatter or buzz. Especially shocking when you consider Vicky has given a huge hit with Zara Hatke Zara Bachke this year. It's odd that the makers have not invested in really promoting this project. The Great Indian Family focuses on Ved Vyas Tripathi, played by Vicky Kaushal, better known as Bhajan Kumar, the son of a Pushteni Pandit and a practicing Hindu hugely popular in the town of Balrampur, especially because of the show and atmosphere he creates when someone wants a bhajan in town. Struggling with barely getting any female attention as he is respected for his occupation rather than ever looked at as a love interest, Bhajan Kumar's life transforms to absolute disarray when he gets to know that he is actually a Muslim by birth. The religious ramifications and reactions that this news causes forms the basic storyline of the Great Indian Family. Here's me telling you the good and bad aspects of the film so that you guys can ultimately decide whether to watch it in theaters or not. The underwhelming aspects. Awful marketing. The YRF strategy regarding its films is odd, dated, and quite unpredictable. While most people associate the YRF brand with commercial big budget ventures, the production company is also known for its periodic mid budget films, in many cases featuring relatively unknown faces. YRF has for the past few years invested in the product through its marketing snippets doing most of the talking, versus spreading the word out through media channels and interviews. While this process works for their film that boasts of bona fide stars, this strategy of the movie depending on word of mouth for its commercial success only does not always guarantee success. While anomalies like Dam Laka Ke Haisha and Band Baja Barat can exist, some films require a necessary push, and this strategy has adversely impacted films in its recent history like Jayesh Bhai Jordar that did embarrassing numbers at the box office, especially when one knows that it's a Ranveer Singh starrer. With Vicky Kaushal as the lead and having tasted recent commercial success with Zara Hatke Zara Bachke, which is a film I believe pales in comparison to the quality of the Great Indian Family, I genuinely feel this film deserved a marketing push, as 2023 is really indicative of the audience being more than willing to watch movies across genres. I feel this from the bottom of my heart as I sat in a relatively empty theatre today morning, but I have theories on why it may have not been pushed as much, and let's talk about the same in the conclusion of the video. Now on to the movie. Unnecessary romance and bordering on cliches. While most of the ensemble cast act as essential components to the core storyline, it became quickly evident that the romantic subplot of the film is mostly inconsequential. While Vicky shines in the meet cute situation, helplessly blushing at the sight of Jasmeet, Manushi Chillar just does not have the fire that the character demands. She plays an opinionated Punjabi girl who has no filter, but Manushi barely has that burst of energy that the character is asking for. Her character in the screenplay comes for a brief period of time and vanishes when the core storyline of the film comes center stage, only to reappear again when it's most convenient. Her inclusion in the film is to act as a commentary on the religious harmony, but barely pushes the point home just because of the brief time the makers spend in establishing any emotional connection between them. The film could have been easily as effective with its messaging without the romantic subplot, as most social comedies tend to transition into a third act where there is a rousing speech to resolve issues. I rolled my eyes in seeing a film transitioning to become cliche in its form. What's lovely though about this film is that it is only momentary, as a character while delivering the speech also is self-aware, stating कि देखो मैं कैसे actor की तरह आप सबके सामने भाषण दे रहा हूँ. Now that I've got the roadblocks out of the way, let's get to why this film really accounted for an interesting viewing experience. The good. The supporting cast. The film boasts of a huge ensemble cast, and I have to say, barring the lack of range in the Vicky Manushi dynamic, there isn't a single element from the supporting cast that sticks out like a sore thumb. The major impression is especially created by Manoj Pahwa and Kumud Mishra, veterans in the game who easily imbibe the personality traits of their characters no matter in which milieu they are set. Manoj Pahwa shares almost an elder brother dynamic with Vicky in the film. While there are rifts in their relationship due to the development of events, it is in the emotional moments where Manoj Pahwa just tugs at your heartstrings. When communicating with Vicky on how he raised him for 12 years and danced in front of him just to make sure he doesn't cry, I couldn't help but shed a tear, especially when slapping Vicky on the sheer thought that his family can think of not loving him. I could just see the love burst out of the legend. The character arc of Kumud Mishra, the father, is also beautifully etched out. The film showcases the awkwardness of most father-son dynamics, where each person is hesitant to truly be vulnerable and embrace one another. The closure this relationship gets as one understands each other better when there is context to Vicky's origin story is beautifully captured. While Yashpal Sharma slightly borders on being gimmicky, it is indicative of a person who uses religion for his vested interests and fuel hatred among communities, something that is a constant reality in our lives in the country today. Vicky Kaushal, the actor. I really am convinced that there is no such thing as a bad Vicky Kaushal performance. There is such a joy in those eyes as he dances in his introduction song as Bhajan Kumar, perfectly conveying a man who embraced spreading the joy of God through music and merry from a very young age. You can just see it in the wide smile Vicky showcases whenever he is on stage. This is a character that is constantly trying to come to terms with his identity, and this quest extracts several emotions from anger, anguish, embarrassment, and most importantly, fear. Vicky brings forth a charm and sensitivity to Ved Vyas Tripathi that makes him instantly likable. There is not a bad bone in his body, and when his ego comes in the way as arguments flare up in the family, you can see how burdened with guilt he is for even thinking about raising his voice. This is what is truly refreshing about the movie, that while the film focuses on the quest for religious harmony at a time where the world is consumed by only creating rifts and differences between us, Vicky as Ved never villainizes any faith or family because of his circumstances, but his quest all stems from genuine concern and curiosity, which made me really feel that the heart of this film was in the right place. Where movies today are divisive with its politics making a clear enemy in the process, the makers choose empathy and love, and this may be a tough pill to swallow for some, where we have become so desensitized with only hate guiding us. Writing and social themes. Who knew that I would be saying such things for the director who brought us gems like Tashan, Dhoom 3 and Thugs of Hindustan? Who knew that the director of such commercial projects with his most understated and small film would actually make his most compelling work with this story? Bhajan Kumar's calling for singing for the Lord to the dynamic of his family that believes in the ideals of democracy for every major decision is really inventively presented. The makers really make you familiar immediately with the characters and swiftly make you care for them. The assumptions of someone from a different faith are addressed by characters who are ignorant, not hateful. And this is what makes the film with its tricky subject also effective. The religion of characters is not the enemy, the circumstances are. The film also addresses the performative secularism that often changes when addressed with it at your own doorstep. The misinformation and hate-fueled campaigns that are spread on social media. Vicky states while looking at the viral witch hunt, मजा तो सबको negative पे ही आता है. The religious differences are addressed with Kumud Mishra beautifully stating, ये दुनिया हमसे इंसानियत छीनकर हमें बांट लेती है. The film, while simplistic in its form, really proved to be a surprising and interesting watch. Something miles ahead of the mediocre Zara Hatke Zara Bachke starring Vicky himself. It made me think, is the reason for its lackluster promotion have to do with the sensitive themes it focuses on? Is a film that champions religious harmony just not the flavor of the times we live in today? Are we so consumed by hatred for one another that a fictional story on the harmony between Hindus and Muslims just cannot be fathomed? This is a film that can easily trigger people who will screenshot scenes out of context to fuel campaigns of hate online. While on the contrary, the film wants to celebrate us accepting one another despite our differences. It's criminal how poorly this was marketed because it really does have its heart in the right place. And that was a video, guys. Write down in the comments below what you thought about the Great Indian Family. Please don't forget to follow me on Instagram, the handle's right in front of you. Follow me at JammyPants4. Also, please support us by smashing the like button and subscribing to our channel for weekly content ahead. Thank you for watching.